Welcome, everyone. I'm Livanou, head of Agora. It's so nice to see so many people here for this talk today. We have the Audiovisual Producers Association of Greece, SAPOE, and they are presenting the changing landscape of Greek film and TV financing. They're going to talk about the challenges and the opportunities. And just to let you know that this is being recorded, as we are a hybrid market, we need to do this. So whoever has a question, just for you to know that you're not, your voices will be recorded in case you have a question. So I pass the mic to moderator of the panel, Livanou, treasurer of SAPOE, and producer from Neda Film.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Very nice to see you all here. In this very, very, very Thessaloniki of weathers. So we're very happy you all made it. This is, last year we hosted a panel as SAPOE, Hellenic Producers Association, where we spoke about how important it is that we have this added tool in financing, which is the Hellenic cash rebate, which was always something that we producers were lobbying governments for many years in the past. So now it's here. It was a very successful talk, we think, and judging from the reactions of the audience. So this year, we decided that it would be helpful, and with the help of our esteemed guests, to outline a few new initiatives that are designed to complement and enhance these new financing tools. And to once and for all demonstrate that filmmaking is an artistic endeavor, but it is also a financial endeavor. And as such, in an ideal world, the producers are the ones who combine these two qualities in order to bring about something of worth, merit, and value in the end. And the way we do it is through some of the things that we will be outlining today. So I will start with our speakers from the Producers Alliance. We're not a union, we are an alliance. And as Ms. Chatzipetrou very correctly pointed out, we are independent producers. So second to my left is Fenia Cossovitsa, Vice President of the Board of Directors and producer at Blonde, as you probably all know. Maria Drandaki, second to my right. She is a member of the board and she's from Homemade Films, as you probably all know. Kostas Kefalas next to Maria from Faliro House Production. And for many of you, somebody very important in your education from the Aristotelio Panepistemio of Thessaloniki. And Simos Manganis at the other end of the panel from Green Olive Films. And last but not least, our very, very, very esteemed guests. To my right, Mr. Leonidas Christopoulos, the General Secretary of Digital Governance and Procedures at the Ministry of Digital Government. So to speak, he is in charge of us. Of us. And to my left, Ms. Athina Chatzipetrou, who is the CEO of the Hellenic Development Bank, who has very kindly agreed to visit us as well and give us a keynote speech on the new initiatives from the Development Bank, which have to do with film financing in Greece. And it's important here to point out that this is a result of many, many, many hours of discussions between the Producers Alliance and the Ministry and Mr. Christopoulos and the Anaptixiaki Hellenic Development Bank in order to bring this about. So, to this end, without no further ado, Mr. Christopoulos, I welcome you to Thessaloniki, and we look forward to hearing the important things you have to say to us.
So, yeah. Thank you very much for the invitation to SAPOE. I'm very happy to be here with you and discuss all the things that we are trying to do, hopefully successfully, in the area of the audiovisual policy, which is for us a very important policy, and a policy that we would like to see, an area, an economic activity that we would like to see growing even more, becoming even bigger, and more important for the Greek economy and the Greek landscape. Now, I will do a brief introduction of what we want to do in the ministry, because I believe that the most important presentation will be done by Athina regarding the financial tool that the Hellenic Development Bank, together with the ministry, is having for the support of the audiovisual sector, because I think it is very important for you to know what this financial instrument is apart from the cash rebate scheme. The people in my office, my colleagues, have prepared a presentation, but I don't think it's very important to stay on that presentation. I think that the most important thing is to see and to say and to discuss what we would like to do regarding the cash rebate. Now, as you know, when this ministry, it is a fairly new ministry. It was created 3 years ago in the form that it is today, very much focused on digitalizing the Greek society, the Greek economy, the Greek state, and everything. I think that during those 3 years we've done very important work on that area, but still we are heading the cash rebate initiative, and generally financial tools that have to do with the audiovisual sector. As you all know, the cash rebate scheme was created by law back in 2017, and it started it started in the previous government. It was a very important initiative, but I think that it really became a very dynamic financial tool from 2019, 2020 onwards, when we changed the incentives, we changed the percentages. We made it a bit easier, a bit simpler for a project to enter the scheme, and a bit simpler for the project to be paid once it finishes. Now, I know that during these 3 years we've had a lot of problems, a lot of bumps in the way. I think it is only natural in an industry that is growing so fast and so rapidly to have these bumps in the way, but I think that we have proved that by discussing with SAPOE all the time, and with the producers and with all the relevant actors in this area, we have improved the regulatory framework, even with our last amendment of the law, in order to make the certification for the payment process, to outsource it to auditors in the market. Now, what I have to say is that we're constantly above the cash rebate scheme, and we want the cash rebate scheme to continue. That is why I can tell you right now that we have managed to have another 200 million for the cash rebate scheme, starting from in a few months' time, which will come mainly from European funds. So the cash rebate scheme, having the old financial source, which was coming from the national budget, the 75 million coming from the national budget, will have an additional 200 million for the next years for the cash rebate to continue as successfully as it has until today. We will continue to discuss in terms of further simplifying the regulatory framework, because in my opinion there will always be a need to adjust the procedures, the processes as we go along. Of course, there are some bureaucratic things that we need to adjust, because we have changed the source of financing from the national budget to the European budget, so it takes some time to adjust the procedures for the new financial tool. But I think that we can all be very happy and let's say optimistic, yes, exactly, optimistic of the future of the cash rebate scheme. Now, apart from the cash rebate, and I will just say that in order to finish my initial remarks and then give the floor to Ms. Chatzipetrou, who is going to be do a more detailed presentation, there is this other financial tool that we have created since 2021. I think I don't remember the exact date that we started the new financial tool, which is an almost 62 million fund, a fund of 62 million that guarantees loans for investments of companies in the audiovisual sector. It is very important for you to know how this financial instrument works, because it's a bit different than the cash rebate. Its role, its goals are different, but I think that they are very important. Of course, we already have the tax relief scheme, which is more of a tax incentive having to do with the tax authorities, but it also assists the sector. And you may rest assured that there will be more things to come in the future in that area, because we're already discussing, all the relevant actors are discussing on ways and on solutions from a financial perspective, in order to have even more innovative financial tools for the audiovisual sector. And what I can also tell you is that through the cohesion funds, to have also programs for the reskilling and upskilling of crews and of people who work in the audiovisual sector, because from what I understand, not being an expert as you are in this room, one of the main problems as the market grows, as the industry grows in Greece, is that we need to reskill and upskill the people working in this field. So we're very much in favor of having ideas, having proposals from you, in order to see how best to use the funds, the resources that we have right now from the new ESPA, the new cohesion funds, to have programs for reskilling and upskilling. And with that, I would like to conclude my initial remarks. I'm open to your questions, if I can answer them, because I'm not always sure I can answer all your questions. If I can do that, I'll be very happy.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. There will be questions at the end for the audience. So in education, thank you for all your remarks, and thank you for all your efforts, and this particular effort as well. Because as we have been discussing, and I think every producer in the room will agree with me, there is no film production without film financing. So it's very, very important that this initiative was finally implemented. And of course, education and the rapid industry is very, very important. But Ms. Chatzipetrou, please tell us how we can finance our projects, our films, our companies.
Thank you for this invitation. I feel a little bit, awkward, because it's my first time in such an audience. I would really wish, and it's my very deep endeavor, to trigger your interest the same way your industry is triggering my imagination, feeling, and interest. So thank you very much for the invitation and for the sentence that you put artistic and financing in the same sentence. First time I heard it. Thank you so much. So let's see. Let's say what was our journey with Leonidas towards the industry that you are representing, and the way we have analyzed the total value chain so as to prepare products that are targeting and are suitable to every stakeholder across the value chain. So we have just heard the cash rebate, and the cash rebate, as you all know, is the financing tool of your product, of each single creative work you start and you finish. And this is very important to understand that this is your product. What we have implemented together with the ministry, and I want to thank Leonidas Christopoulos, because he was the one triggering, let's say, something that the funds were there but were never used in the past. So what we wanted to do is to finance the investment of your company. So one is one thing and different perspective is to have the framework, to have the tools, to have the investment, to have even the working capital of your company that is financed through the tool that you are seeing on the screen. We've done our best to present it in an artistic way. Forgive us, we are amateur, it's not boring finance people. So this is the tool that finances your company, that finances your investment on your company in every aspect based on a business plan. And the business plan is approved by investment committee. It is through the banks. I don't know if you want me to go through the steps. It is through the banking system. Actually, we are cooperating with 2 banks in this product, Optima and Piraeus Bank. And it is very clear the eligibility addresses to SMEs, motion picture, video and television program production. This is the type of company you should have. Prototype computer game software as well. The loan amount varies from 25,000 to 900,000 euro. What is important is that, let's say, our intervention on the program gives you, restricts the guarantees up to 50% of the loan amount. And for a loan amount of 50,000, there is no guarantee, just your signature. So if a company wants to get a loan of 50,000 euro, goes to the bank, gets the approval, meaning that you are a bankable company, that you don't have restrictions of insolvency and all this kind of stuff. And you don't need to give as guarantee nothing. For an amount that is more than 50,000 euro, your guarantee is up to 50% of the loan amount. As you all know, the loans usually have like 100 and 120% of the loan amount. So the loan duration is up to 60 months for working capital and up to 120 months for investment loans, because this loan is also, this includes a working capital that is always needed if you want to start an investment period. How else you can see the impact of this loan? We have, you will see a reduced loan interest, and you will also see a grace period that is up to 2 years. This is the framework. The mechanism is, the application steps is in the middle. You can see them in the middle. And the 2 banks that we cooperate is Piraeus Bank and Optima Bank. How I would like you to see this product. You have a company, of course, you have the creativity, you have your products, etc. But you also are entrepreneurs. So you have always to have in mind that you should see the basket of financing tools you can use. For your products, you have the cash rebate. For investments, etc., you have this product when it comes directly to your industry. But you have also options to be included in the so-called horizontal products. I give you one example. Hellenic Development Bank is going to introduce in the next 2 months a program that is called Growth. And this, that is 800 million, huge, that is going to address to companies that decide a merger. Okay, for a growth, let's say, if we want to create a new company that will be bigger, will be healthier, will have more resilience to the challenges of the future, we can also use this product. Have always in mind that the basket of financing tools you can use never finishes. And in that sense, I want to proudly ask you to participate in a platform that we have in HDB. We call it Agora. Inno stands for innovation, not the wine, because most some cases we receive these questions. So Agora is a platform, very interesting platform that we have created jointly with the Development Bank of France, with the Banque Publique d'Investissement. And in this platform, you will find many other people like you, startups, R&D, growth, investors. So it is like a Facebook of companies. And because it's not addressed to this Asterix village that we are in Greece, it is addressed to at least a European, bigger level, it is much more interesting. So we have Agora, and last but not least, 1st of January, we are going to roll out another non-financial tool, platform again, that targets to increase the frame of bankable companies in Greece. I guess I will have a second round to talk about this. Sorry for the long introduction.
It wasn't long at all. I'm sure we all have a million questions and things to say. I will start by saying that this is a great, great, great initiative because there was a huge gap in the market, in our market, with a total absence of film financing. I know from personal experience, I had to work with French banks. I'm sure other colleagues have other examples. So, Fenia mu.
Yes, Amanda mu. Okay, just a question. Can you, Mrs. Chatzipetrou, elaborate a little bit more the other financing tool, which is the cash flow based on the certification of the cash rebate, how it works?
This tool is something that we may elaborate for the future. Doesn't exist right now. What I can tell you, so as to have in mind that we want to grow a little bit the framework of bankable, the universe of bankable companies, the SMEs that are bankable. That is also important because here we see young people, young entrepreneurs, and also in this product that has been created, I want to highlight that 20% has been disbursed to companies that have less than 3 years entrepreneurial life, young companies. I'm not very sure about the age of the entrepreneurs, but the companies are young. So the new tool that we're going to have in January, it will give us the opportunity to have an insight, to have a better view on what we call the reception of the SMEs, because we are a second floor bank. We don't see who is going to the bank, the commercial bank. With this tool, all the applications will come through us. We will do all the health check, social security certificate, tax certificate, and insolvency. And afterwards, and this is the most important, we will upload the application to be visible to the totality of the banking system. And this will create what we call market forces. This will give the same chances to the SMEs as the big companies, what we call corporate, have on shop, because they go to more than 2-3 banks and they negotiate the interest, etc. So by uploading the application to the totality of the banking system, we will create kind of antagonism, kind of incremental visibility for the SMEs. And this is where we base our aim to have in the future better interest rates and better financing cost and more interest for the SMEs.
So what we've now learned is that there is no cash flowing way in the sense of the film financing, in the proper film financing, that through this program we can either become part of it as an investment, which refers to more practical things and not services provided, which is what we do here. Meaning, for example, rentals, cameras, post-production houses, VFX houses, stuff that requires spending on equipment and the like, correct?
If I can just describe it, because I think it's very important for us to know. There are 3 different financial tools right now existing. The one is the cash rebate that everybody knows and has to do with financing your projects. Okay, you get a 40% rebate. You can use it to get the bank loans if you have the decision for interest in the program, and that is the cash rebate as we all know it. Then there is this financial tool that supports either your companies or the ecosystem of companies around your production companies that have to do with, I don't know, cruise equipment and companies like that, that want either to start or to finance their investments in several issues that have to do with infrastructure, with marketing and things like that, as Athina said. And then you get the third one, which is the tax relief. As you all know, it's a tax incentive with the tax authorities. These are the ones existing right now. Okay, and we might have a discussion with the HDB on how the Hellenic Development Bank could support, let's say, and cooperate with us in entering, let's say, a cash flow guarantee scheme, as you rightly described. But this is a discussion for the future, not right now. And of course, you get the developmental law for the studios, but that's another story, because it's the first time that we have a financial instrument for studios in Greece. It has never happened before, and we need to say that as well.
Thank you. Simos, Manganis, I think you have something you want to share.
Hi. I just want to stay a little bit on the cash flow certificate. I just want to offer a new perspective concerning productions that are coming from other countries. We can accelerate the ecosystem that we're developing right now more with the production companies that are coming from other countries. These production companies and these productions that are coming over to Greece because of the cash rebate, one of the things they're demanding or they're asking for is cash flowing their certificate. And there is an immense need right now for this. And if we don't fill this gap, there will be independent companies, there will be fans, there will be other institutions that will fill in this gap. This is a tool that would help us grow the industry faster and and create more jobs in the industry. Without cash flowing the certificate, it creates a problem of how fast and how productive we are as a country. I'm not referring to the local productions. I'm mainly focusing on the big productions that are coming from other countries. And we are creating an ecosystem. We just need to find the right tools because the policy is there. We agree. The tool is there, which is the cash rebate. The producers are here because imagine if we had these tools and the producers were not able to produce to the high level that it's been demanding from another countries. The ecosystem wouldn't work. We have these tools. We're missing this part, which is the cash flow. I'm not saying anything else that you're doing is not good. I'm just saying it's an important part of the chain of creating this easy, sustainable, streamline ecosystem of productions in the country. And then training, obviously, is a big part of it.
Should I answer that?
Please do if you feel like it.
Well, in my opinion, yes, I would agree with you. I mean, you need all the elements starting to come together in order to say that you have a very successful and a very dynamic tool. And that was why I said that we would like to see this discussion going in the future, not in the very far future, in the near future, to see what are the elements missing right now to have a very sustainable, because in my opinion, the right word for what we're trying to create here, knowing what happened in other countries and in other stories is to have a sustainable scheme. That is the most important thing for me. So yes, we need to fill in the missing gaps, and we should discuss about that. But look, this is a story that has started and is growing for the past 5 years. And if someone, has a retrospect on that and sees how many things happened and how many things changed and how many things adjusted in the last 5 years, then I don't think that, and from all governments, from all political parties, and that is a very important thing as well, that all political parties agree on this policy, which means that this is a sustainability criteria. So I would say that we would very quickly move forward to what you're referring as a cash flow certificate. Is that the right word? Or a cash flow?
Cash flowing the certificate, let's say.
Guarantee or
guarantee.
Yeah. So yes, if that is missing, we should discuss about how we can fill in the gap very quickly. Because I think that we all have proved for the past 5 years that we have been working together, we have been discussing all together to quickly adjust the regime to what we need.
Kostas, Kefalas, I think there's something you wanted to say.
Hello? Yeah. Not many original things. First of all, I couldn't have said it better than you, Amanda, on the role of the producer and the two sides of it, which is why we are here and why we are doing this business, the creative part and the financial part. I want to double on what Simos said and you, Leonidas. Thinking of, we all been in this business for quite a long time, and it's the last 5-7 years that I feel there are listeners, good listeners in all ends, and that's, the base for everything in order to be able to grow and develop sustainable schemes. And what Simos said, it's great that we have development tools for us as companies to grow as entrepreneurs and creators of content, which I guess it's in all of us what we want to do, to create own voice and content, apart from having the country attract foreign productions also. So this, to my understanding also, this gap, it's a gap financing, it's no more than this. This happens all over the world, because one thing is that you have your financing plan in place, the other thing is when, the cash flow. So if the country has the opportunity to also offer this kind of bridge, this is yet another tool that we can offer to the foreigners or foreign collaborators or co-producers or big studios that we are doing service for, to offer them this tool, which kind of makes the difference. Okay, Greece is one of the very streamlined, straightforward, quick countries. We have succeeded in many levels, as you said, and we are working together hand in hand to improve the sustainability. Maybe this is something to be considered, which for the future as a financial tool, which otherwise it will go to, high-rated, big cost of private money that come in to serve this bridge. That's, yeah.
Just to add to what Kostas said, we are content creators and we are producers, and one side is the production service or the co-productions we do with other countries. The other side is the Greek productions, purely Greek productions, and there is
or
enough
co-productions.
Or co-productions, yes, I'm sorry.
Greek
right.
Hellenic nationality productions.
Hellenic nationality. Amanda, you said it as always very nicely. Yes, and there is another gap there, which is the film financing, okay? So, the way for us to be able, for example, to cash flow the contracts with the Greek Film Center, the national broadcaster, or Eurimage, or sales agents, etc., etc. So this is very important for us to be able to keep producing Hellenic nationality.
No, we're Europeans first and foremost, and we tried very hard, some of us, for this. But I think what is apparent and perhaps needs highlighting, pointing out, since we are at the Thessaloniki Film Festival, is that there's two streaks to this story, many more. But there is the local production, which is either Greek production or co-production or a minority or majority production. And there is the service production. There is no reason to divide those two in any other way except to say that there are some differences in the way they work. But basically, and because even in the media it hasn't been clarified that the cash rebate does not only refer to foreign productions. The cash rebate refers to any production which is an investment-oriented production, meaning there is a quota of non-national financing in the financing plan. Therefore, non-public financing, my apologies, in the financing plan. Therefore, it is considered a development initiative. Therefore, there is the bonus of a return of part of the investment, which is now at 40%. It doesn't really matter, except for some technical stuff, whether the money comes from the States, from Disney, from France, from Swaziland. It doesn't really matter at all. What is important is in both cases, we do need the cash flow because film business works in a very different way than a standard other business. There is an initial very high investment before the process is completed, which might take a long time. Now, some people, like independent producers, they're poor and we don't have the access to that kind of funding. Some studios could have the access to that kind of funding. Nevertheless, we all know how important cash flowing is. So what Simos, I think, was pointing out is that it is an extra tool where we can become very, very competitive. We don't have to go to the French, and who offer very low interest rates, by the way, and very specialized services, complete understanding of the process and how it works, and a very quick evaluation of the business or financing plan, or to the private funds, which are many and which are definitely coming because this is a good business. And so we need to figure this one out, and it's business, and it's artistic, and it's financing and entrepreneurial. Sorry, I spoke too much, but it's very close to my heart.
Okay, so to continue from what you said, I think it's also important to point out, and I think for the banks also to understand, and here I believe is your role, that there's a market here to take into account, and the success of the cash rebate over the past years shows that, and also the growth, because this is this market is growing considerably. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that there's also a worry, and this is again something to discuss, of how much and how many companies will have access to the existing financing tool, but also to the future financing tools, because there's this, and I believe it's a reality, that access to banks is not really easy. And I believe maybe you can elaborate a bit on the idea you have on this.
I would like to stress the fact that, yes, you are in a creative business, but you also have companies, and companies have, in quotation, a boring framework. you have offices, you have accountants, you have bills, you have lawyers. So the part that is non-creative could be financed by other tools as well. Never forget that. The creative part as such, that is your product, is financed currently by the cash rebate. And could be also, we could see, more tools for your product as such, for your project. Let's call it project. On the other hand, and let's say complementary to your job, you have companies to run. And your companies have energy costs. They have needs for training, for upskilling, for reskilling. They have needs for new offices, for new, I don't know, nice warehouses that are turned into sexy, whatever, film festivals. All this kind of part can be served financial-wise by other products. Don't restrict into, as I am a filmmaker, I want to see a product that says, addressed to filmmaking. You can have a product that is called digital. You can have a product that is called energy. If you put panels on the roof of your studio, this can be financed by a product that is called green. If you do things that can be on the digital direction, will be financed by another product called digital, because you upgrade your computers, your cameras, very nice cameras here, and all this kind of stuff. This is digital. It's not filmmaking. Filmmaking is your creativity, is the result of all your equipment that can be financed by other tools as well. That's why we see, don't restrict it in terminology. That is, this is our job, to restrict you into terminology and jargon that nobody understands. We have to see it open-minded. And that's why I've mentioned, in addition to the financing tools, in Hellenic Development Bank, that we call the HDB, you can also see how how to apply, for example, for a business plan. We have a very cute bot with short hair that is a robot. So, and it shows you how to build a business plan. Needed, because we need to talk the same language at the end of the day. And because the banking system has the watermelon and the knife, you have to adjust on their jargon than the other way around. Okay, so we have to see it broader, and I think in a very fast pace, really fast pace, that we have reflected in the last years at least, in the last 3-4 years, in a very fast pace, we will try to amend and to enhance the basket of the financial tools as quickly, with an open dialogue that exists with all of you, and we thank you for that. We will fast create also new tools. In HDB, just for you to know, we have a time to market that is no more than 3 months. We started as a startup. This is what I refer to ourselves. We were a startup. We started with 280 million, for banking is really nothing, 280 million under management, and we currently have 8.6 billion disbursed loans. So we grew, and we grew fast, and we grew during the pandemic. In Greece, we have everything, and we should exploit this everything. The miracle that we saw with Ministry of Digital was not expected, and it was during the lockdown primarily. And this has continued. You know, we left them alone for a few months, and then when we woke up in a different country. We did the same. We started in February with February 2020, 280 million, and in September 2020 we had 7 billion, sorry, and we continue in this space. So let's continue the dialogue, and let's put what we call the important timelines, and create, let's say, a roadmap of important timelines and deliverables.
I think we can safely say that it's the first time that in the Thessaloniki Film Festival we've had a banker among us, and we're particularly proud of that. And we're particularly proud of the fact that we have a dialogue with a banking partner, and I want to say a banking partner. So thank you for being here. Shall we open the floor to questions, unless the chair needs to... Any questions from the esteemed colleagues? Mr. Tsourian is an esteemed member of SAPOE.
Hi, thank you very much for your presentations. It's very interesting indeed. We are quite blessed that we are actually having this dialogue for the first time. You're very right, Amanda. I was wondering whether we, in discussing about sustainability and addressing skilling and upskilling, whether we could also think of the banking sector like having this blind spot in terms of film production investment specifically. I mean, like in the vein of like banking institutions in other European countries where there is departments within banks that specifically address cash flow considerations or investment considerations that have to do with film productions specifically, which sometimes are in the budgets of millions. So the films themselves could be described, the projects themselves, the product in this case, could actually be described as little companies in a way, in themselves. So I was wondering whether this is something we could be looking at the same time as in wanting to expand this dialogue and working at the same time. And I would like to hear what you think of that.
Are you addressing the question to somebody in particular, or?
I would think to Ms. Chatzipetrou, the Hellenic Investment Bank. I mean,
now that we have the bank here,
yes, exactly.
Okay, we are a development. Hellenic Development Bank is a development bank that belongs as a shareholder, has Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Development. So we leverage public money coming from Europe, coming from the ministry, so public money. It is a very, very good question. And how I see it as, let's say, industry steps. Film production industry in Greece is rather small compared to France, compared to the States or other big countries. But we want to move towards this direction. And we would like, as for example in the banking system, they have specific departments that evaluate, for example, construction projects, and they are very competent on understanding Attica Road concession, for example, the results, the return on investment, etc., to have the ability to create financial models, to understand and to put, let's say, down the P&L, the profit and loss statement, and the investment on such projects. It is, I see it as a very good prospect for the future. And what we need, and we are very open, is to create this expertise. Because we cannot buy this expertise, we need to create this expertise. How we will create it? You are the ones that know the foreign banking institutions that are specialized. And we can be the ones, very openly, with ECOME and with the ministry, to, let's say, sign an MOU towards this direction, so that we exchange knowledge on that. Because this knowledge will not come from the cloud, will come from an industry that exists, that is having very specific tools and evaluation tools not existing in Greece, because we were really small and we had, as always in Greece, more or less the gut feeling, like I sense, I feel, I imagine, whatever, which is the way that the banking system doesn't work. So what are the tools? What is that they evaluate? What is that they value at the end of the day? Number of tickets? I don't know. Number, for example, in the innovation, that we have an innovation loan. What we value is the if there is what we call awards winning. If a company that has won 1, 2, 3 awards in international competition in Europe, blah, 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 whatever, is considered an innovative company. Now, how can this be evaluated into the creative industry? We have to know. I'm pretty sure that the ministry and the COME will be willing to start a dialogue with a banking institution that is towards this direction.
Well,
Thank you.
I would say that the banking sector is always skeptical when it comes to new business, when it comes to things that they don't traditionally know. So it is a matter both of the state, in the sense that the state is really serious about this business area and wants to promote it and wants to support it, but also to the producers themselves and to the ecosystem, let's say, of the film production, to show to the banking sector, because these bankers are very dull, technocratic people. They want to see numbers, they want to see things like that. Yeah. They don't want to see us. Yeah, they want to see very specific things. Yeah.
Unfeeling comment.
But we need to start this learning awareness process with the banks, because of course they're skeptical because we had 10 years of crisis, and they want to see firstly that the state is very serious about what they want to do with this policy area, the audiovisual policy area. They want to see that the support will be there in the midterm. In a midterm horizon. They want to see that the industry itself is growing, and it's growing in a sustainable way, as you very rightly said. It's growing in a way that is not like it's not going to be a boom, it's not going to be a fuska, and then we will forget about what happened. So once this dialogue starts, and I think that is the good thing about the financial tool that the HDB has. It is the first financial tool that is specific for the audiovisual sector and has included 2 banks, and maybe it's a first step, for this awareness learning process with the banking sector to start. But from our view, it is very important, as Athina very rightly said, that we start a dialogue through an MOU or whatever. I don't really trust MOUs. I very much trust, a very specific dialogue saying this industry is very dynamic, it's bringing money, it's a good business. The state is there to support the sustainability of the policy, not just the incentive, not just the money, but the sustainability of the sector. It does training, it supports everything, and then they'll have an open ear. I'm pretty much sure about that. And yes, then we can bring the French banks and the French institutions and whatever.
In addition to that, I think that we should see what every industry is doing when the industry is growing. So when the industry is growing, we see mergers. This is the way. So why? Because when we cooperate, we become more resilient. We have a better perspective towards the banking system. So we as companies, not as creative artists, as companies, because also in digital, they were the geeks, but those geeks have become entrepreneurs. So artists is the same thing. You are artists, but at the same time, you are entrepreneurs. So becoming bigger, this will give you resilience. This will give you investors. This will give you creditability towards the banking system. That is one thing. Second is specialization and new tools that will be financed by products that they don't have the title audiovisual. They have other titles. They have title green. They have title digital. They will have a title that is going to be growth for M&As. So we can get the expertise. This is the easy thing. We can hire consultants. We can get the expertise. But it's very important for you also to grow. And as we have this product, it is very important because the cluster will be monitored. If the audiovisual in 2 years will have 30% NPLs, this is not good news. If this sector and this product, NPLs is the non-performing loans. I speak Greek, English. Otherwise, I would say red loans.
The red loans.
Color red, red alarm. So, because this is a trust is something that we built. Currently, we had interest from two banks, Optima and Piraeus, for different reasons. If this goes well, will be further refinanced. Financing is, financiers are always checking where profit lies, and they go there. So it is a dynamic industry because it addresses to experiences. And new generation, I know it from my son, is not buying anymore to what we had as carrots 20 years ago. We need to live our lives with better quality, with experiences, with endeavors. That's why I believe your industry will be very, very promising in the future.
True.
May I ask, from these 62 million, how much has it been? Yeah, how much has it been already out in the market?
We have 76 loans that are in the pipeline and disbursements of almost 30. 20% of those are companies of a lifespan less than 3 years. So what we call young.
There is a question.
I'm Dimitra Rogoti and I represent the Epirus Film Office. It's very interesting all I've heard about the national incentives in the creation of the audiovisual products. But do you have in mind to create some tool in order to enforce even the regional creation? The most of the production that are created those last years are most filmed in Athens and Thessaloniki. Do you have in mind something to enforce the production in the region of Greece?
Well, I guess that goes to me.
Yes,
I imagine so.
Yeah.
I think yes.
Okay. First of all, let me say that we very much support the work being done by the regional film offices or the municipal film offices for that reason, because they are, let's say, ambassadors of what we're trying to do at the national level, empower the audiovisual industry. Yes, you're right in saying that most films are from what I know, are being shooted in Athens or Thessaloniki. That is always a decision taken by a private company on where they want to shoot. And me personally, I would be very skeptical in going to a company and saying, "Oh, you should check this or you should check the other," because I'm very pro-market and very pro-liberal in that respect. So, it's a decision of the companies where they feel better to shoot. But still, we are thinking, and we should think of how we could create some tools in order to support either local productions or companies that want to shoot somewhere and think about other areas that they could probably shoot or do a project in. Just saying that apart from us trying to support the film offices per se in their operations, right now we don't have a tool that will guide, let's say, projects to several to alternative. Yes, please. Of the transport. Yeah.
Transportation, for instance. have
It's
a specific...
Well, this shouldn't be a dialogue, if I may interrupt, but I would like to point out that the regional funds that exist in certain other countries and in the United States as well, state by state, they offer the investment so that you, the producer, whether it is a servicing producer, a Greek producer, goes there. I don't think that the state can legislate and say, offer a specific tool to say, please go to Epirus or go to Crete or go to Thraki. It's the other way around. It's like the Hellenic cash rebate, which happened so that we can get business from Croatia or from Iceland or from Morocco, which has no cash rebate but is very cheap. So I think the ball, so to speak, is in the court of the film offices, if I may speak as a producer, to offer the incentive.
Additionally, if I can say, it's not a matter of the Greek cash rebate and of the central state of the ministry or ECOME or whoever else is responsible. I would say it's more a matter of the region itself if they want to offer on what they already have. A certain incentive and center visibility of the region to the markets. And I guess that is what the film office should do as well, okay?
Can I give an example? I give you an example, okay? We have a product in HDB that we create together with region of Western Macedonia. Of course, it was on energy. Nevertheless, it was money from the region. So if there is a priority of the region, just an example. It was very small. It was 20 million, the product that we created with Western Macedonia. If there is a high interest of one region saying that I want to give, to create a product, a loan that is addressed to companies that are registered in Epirus or to other companies that want to create tools for Epirus, we can create a tool that says, like we have a loan Western Macedonia loan program, and it's addressed only to Kozani, I think. And it has been very easily disbursed, 20 million in 4 months. We can, please, you are welcomed.
Thank you very much.
I think this is very interesting what you say, because before you said that, I think from my experience with the regions and the regional film offices, I just shot part of a film in Creta. I think there is a need for legislative tools, because there are some restrictions in how they can invest money in films. So this is maybe where you can intervene. And of course, what you suggested right now is very, very interesting.
Just a minute.
Let's clarify the verb. What do you mean invest? We are providing loans. Loans are returned. If you are talking about grants, money that go to the pocket and never be returned, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Eligibility when it comes to loans, there are no restrictions or legislations. It's something that says, I would like to form a product that is addressed to habitants of Kozani, for example, or of Epirus, or for companies that are registered in Epirus. It's money. It's money from the region. That's why.
It's different, but we were also talking about incentives.
We're not talking about that, though. The film office is not talking about that. The film office is talking about bringing projects to Epirus, attracting projects to Epirus. That's what you're interested in. So projects that might come to Athens or go to Crete or go to Salonika, go to Epirus instead, because the film office is very active and wants to bring projects to Epirus. And that's a very healthy response to what they want to do. Still, we cannot differentiate the cash rebate according to, that would be... But what we can do is we can support the film offices in their operation in order to become more effective and in order to create themselves the channels they need to go to the producers and say, don't go to Athens, don't go to Salonika, don't go to any other place and come to Epirus. We cannot do it as a central state. Of course, you can understand that. We cannot intervene. But that is a role of the Film Office.
But it could be a special fund for this in the regions, for instance. Let's say.
Yeah,
it's
it's a thought. It's a thought.
Yeah.
We could.
However, I think it is important to say that in regions where this, because I want to stick to something that Athina said, which is we follow the examples already set through countries that have done this successfully before us. We've been saying that for the cash rebate. We didn't invent the alphabet. It's been happening since many years successfully. We have successful examples. We have not successful examples. Let's follow the successful examples. We have successful examples in film financing. We have unsuccessful. Let's follow the successful examples, the unsuccessful ones. I think the same should go. I would propose that we think around the same principle for the film offices, for the regional. As a principle, it's more expensive to go out of Athens, as a principle, because you need to feed people, you need to accommodate people, and you need to pay per diems to people. And oftentimes there is no infrastructure. For example, there's crazy stories about regions that businesses never had any kind of invoicing, and they had to find it because of the rebate. This is development. This is good. So I would again say that unless you're absolutely forced to go because of the location to the region, then it's up to the region to offer the incentive. And it's not only the services provided many times very well from the offices, but it's a financial incentive, again, because wherever there's profit, somebody will know. So if I come and spend $500,000 in Epirus, I would very much appreciate the region of Epirus offering me back something, because it's a lot of money. Because otherwise, I will lobby Crete to give me that incentive. Or I'll stay in Athens, where I have a 30% less cost. I think it's a very, very simple equation. Is there another? Shall we move on unless there's more on this topic? Is there another? Do we have more questions? The esteemed colleague, Mr. Vasilaros, and member of the Alliance.
Hello, I'm Konstantinos Vasilaros. I'm a younger producer of a company which produces mostly Greek productions. So I would say films that are under 1 million euros. And I'm using the example that I went through for a film we just finished shooting. I did attempt to cash flow, which is one of the biggest, as everyone agrees here, challenges and problems of a producer in Greece, how to cash flow the shooting of a production. I did try to go to Optima Bank to try and attempt to get a loan for the first time. But apart from all the requirements that they ask for a company like mine, quite a simple problem came up. It was, we applied for the ECOME cash rebate support, let's say back in January. The shooting was in September. But the decision from the cash rebate, let's say the decision from the ministry, arrived 2 weeks into the shooting, which was sort of end of September. So from January to end of September. Which obviously was too late, so I had to drop the whole process because of that simple problem. The delay of that paper, which comes from the ministry, that the ECOME has to wait to be signed.
The FEC, you're saying the FEC.
The FEC. So I had to give it up because the cash flow is important for the shooting. So I'm wondering also, in terms of how, moving forward and all these things you're talking about, which are great, how will the cash rebate with the ministry and the banks understand the, let's say, the process of this and how fast it has to happen sometimes for us to be able to go and, for a small company like mine, to go off this process, but realistic times. And the second scale of the question is, now that you, the cash rebate implemented the fast track of using external auditors to fast track this, which from my point of view, I have 2 projects which use this tool, which came up in May, if I'm not mistaken. Despite us finishing the whole process, I'm talking about personal experiences now. Beginning of September, the decision came out, everything went fine. There's huge, again, delays in payments of these supports. And I'm wondering, for us producers, explaining ourselves to the French producers who are waiting now 14 months for their money is, how we should explain why this is happening, Simple.
First, I guess that goes to me.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Let's clarify, because that goes to Leonidas, because if you take out that Optima is also working for the program that we called Loan Audiovisual, what you are describing is not a loan for audiovisual.
No,
it has nothing to do. So it was the cash rebate.
No, it doesn't have. It's the cash flow.
No
Now,
banking.
Let me start with a general remark to all of you, not just to you. We in the ministry and in the Comea, we're very sorry, and we need to say that publicly, for all delays that you might have experienced. And yes, I know that there are delays. Okay, both for the decisions to enter the scheme, as well as the payment process. These delays have to do mainly, and most of the times, due to the fact that we kept changing the legal framework in order to make it work better. The dynamic of the program became so big and so heavy for a public organization, because we always need to have in mind that we're talking about a small public organization that started back in 2017, 2018, having a few projects to deal with, and now these people are trying to deal with a multiple of projects, and I know that it falls heavy, and that's why we outsourced the payment process, because it was not humanly possible for the organization to both do the assessment of the projects at the initial stage and then to have the assessment of the finalization of the projects and the payments. And above all these things, we also have the bureaucratic processes that we now have to do in order to bring the new 200 million from the European funds inside the cash rebate scheme, which unfortunately we need to adhere to some European regulations and some European procedures, and that is why we are delaying. There is a delay with the payments. I won't say that. Okay, now what are you going to say to the French? I'm fairly confident that the French as well will have to deal with a very bureaucratic organization themselves in their country. It's not like that they're better in terms of bureaucracy.
They're a lot better in film bureaucracy, I assure you.
In film bureaucracy, I don't know if they have...
there is no film bureaucracy in film.
Yes, but we have a film industry and a film administrative environment, an administrative organization, just for 5 years. That is why
we're all with you on that, which is why we're always stressing that it's the dialogue and the constant effort.
Exactly. It's not like we have a very traditional organization. Okay, we had the film center, but it didn't have such a big tool to manage. Now we have a big tool. We have a new organization. We've done a lot in 5 years. Yes, I know there are delays. We're trying to fix the delays. We're trying as much as we can to fix the delays. There are rules that we have to follow as well, because it's not that we get the money and we suddenly give it out to the market. I hope that you all understand that. Okay, it's not a matter of what you would say to your French colleagues is that there are some rules that we need to do, the ministry needs to do, some procedures that the ministry needs to finish in order to have this money coming in, the new money coming in for the payments and everything, and then it will roll out. Nobody will lose money. Nobody will have a problem on that in that respect because the state always pays. It just might need some time to adhere to the rules, and that is something that I have to say to everyone. Okay, because yes, I know it is a problem.
I don't know if we've lost money, but we've lost sleep over talking to the French about when they get their money back.
I've lost sleep as well with that problem.
I know. I was just trying to loosen the conversation a bit.
I lost my sleep yesterday because I was thinking that this question would come up eventually, and it was delayed.
Our apologies. However, we do have a French representative, so to speak, Mr. Kotsaftis, who is the attaché audiovisuel at the French Embassy and also a member of the board of the Greek Film Center. And
Hi.
a dear friend.
It's a very interesting conversation, and I think what I'm getting from all of this that you're all saying is that SAPOE and all the Greek producers are really looking forward to having banking partners and that are specialized and know the very detailed specifics of film production, which are actually, it's one of the most industrious of the arts. Let's say it's an industry way before it was an art form, and it requires some very specific knowledge, as you said, Mrs. Chatzipetrou. So, just as a suggestion, I can say that at the French Institute and more broadly, we're very open to cooperating and providing that French know-how and sharing it with the Greek state and the Hellenic Development Bank and the Ministry for Digital Governance. It's something that we're really keen on doing. So yes, we're here if you want us.
Thank you. I think we really need it.
On est tellement ouvert pour progresser avec vous. Hein?
Vive la France. Ο κύριος Σαμνιώτης, μια ερώτηση. Mr. Σαμνιώτης.
I would like just to expand a little bit the discussion, because in my view, the cash rebate is adjusting, is doing well for 5 years, pretty well, and is adjusting. The loans and the investments are cash flowing. There is progress. And I have to say from personal experience that both Optima and Piraeus are very open even to expand their finance above and beyond the 900,000. And there are already funds, both outside Greece and in Greece now, that are doing this cash flow of the rebate. So it's a big
private
progress.
funds.
Yeah, Chiltern, for example. Chiltern Fund is financing projects that are sought in Greece. But I have to share some thoughts with you, like business plans, which is something very important. But I have to tell you from personal experience that I think you need a training scheme for the consultant firms, even the big ones, when it comes to audiovisual sector. Because we have to give them the data. We have to tell them how this industry is working. It's taking a lot of our time. This cannot be done by a robot or something that is, you open a book on business plan and you just write the business plan. It's by far more complicated. And when talking about business plans, for the local projects, there is a sector that is a nightmare, which is called expected revenues, which is something that is, very important, that the government needs to look at how we can export the products, how we can generate revenues outside the country. And this has to be done organized, like you're selling and promoting the olives, the oil, the wine and everything. You have to have a centralized, organized promotion campaign and to design a plan how the producers will export their products and create revenues for that. If we want to talk about growth and development, we need the revenues. And the third one, of course, we can use a lot of programs like green, digital, whatever, but there's a big but. These programs are done by other ministries that are not relevant sometimes to the audiovisual, and they forget to add our fiscal code in there, so we cannot apply. For example, the recent MetaPEC program, no, we cannot. We cannot build a studio, we cannot build a post-production house, we cannot get our equipment through that, where I don't see why. It's because our industry is split between, I don't know how many ministries. Honestly, I don't know, which is a big, big disadvantage. We need one centralized governance which I believe it's something that needs to happen.
Let me start from the last one, because what I would like after the discussion from you is I would like the codes. CAV is in Greece. I would like the CAV, and I will centrally make sure that for the horizontal products, as we call them, you are included. That is one. The semi-last that you have referred and is also important. The learning curve for the business plan, you are right. We are a country that is specialized to specific projects. We know since long how to evaluate a construction project. We know how to evaluate energy. We know how to evaluate any kind of FMCG, fast-moving goods, let's say, industry. Food, agriculture, we know those because this was the way our country has grown in the past years. That is why I refer, and I believe that the French attaché can help us. There are countries that they have a leadership in your sector. France is among those, and the States. France is closer. Why? Because it's a European framework. So maybe in the States, that is, of course, bigger. Maybe the frame is kindly different. So France or even Italy can give us the know-how, because what we do in evaluation and what the investors do, they compare your project to your industry. So it's not that if it's not a hedge fund that is saying, where should I invest? Should I invest to filmmaking or to fish? Or to construction, or to buying non-performing loans. This is the hedge fund. When it is a strategic investor, they know very well their own industry. So you are benchmarked against your industry. And we as overall financing scheme, including the ministry, we should learn those things. And that's why it will be important through the attaché to get in touch. I don't know if Banque Publique d'Investissement is among those banks that is financing culture in France. If not,
it's usually through private specialized banks.
Okay. Okay. Ωραία. As we are francophone, on peut avancer la...
There are specialized private banks that may they be Neflis,
Λοιπόν,
Palatine, and the ones you mentioned, which are Sofika, if I'm not... no?
Coffee Loisirs and Coffee Ciné are specialized in credit to cinema, and they are backed
Mais ce sont les banques publiques, mais des banques privées?
Non, c'est privé. Et it's private, and it's backed by all the banks who are guaranteeing these loans. So
in any case, the learning curve of the KPIs and the way, what is exactly that we need to see, it is something that we, as HDB, will get the leadership, and we will be in contact with the Union of Banking, because we create the programs together, so that we pass those filters and those creations across the industry of the banks, as well as the Big Four, the consulting, let's say. So please get in contact through Amanda, and that we get your coordonate for that. Thank you.
A big dialogue with the Greek banks is opening, and the Hellenic Development Bank. Very happy about that. I think we have to wrap this up. There is people who are traveling to Athens tonight. It's not the best of nights to be traveling. I want to thank everybody for coming here. I want to thank, in particular, the General Secretary Leonidas Christopoulos and Athina Chatzipetrou from the Hellenic Development Bank. Thank you to Leonidas and to Athina, both for being here, but also for having an open ear, for being flexible, and for continually trying to improve and streamline everything we're trying and they're trying to do. It's very important that we understand each other, because we don't naturally go hand in hand, the film business the artistic side and the banks, but I think it's doable and it's imperative that we do it. And it's also a bit of fun, I think. I noticed that in my bank, when we go talk to them, we're their kind of nice break, because usually they deal with more boring stuff. So we have some advantages. I don't know if Leonidas would like to say, Mr. Christopoulos would like to say something to close this.
I was, it just popped into my mind now. I was reading a book about AI a few weeks ago, and I don't know if you know it, it's called Life 3.0. So in the beginning, there are some students that want to build this very strong algorithm, do machine learning, and try to conquer the world. And they are trying to decide which sector to use in order to be able to use the algorithm, the AI algorithm, and conquer the world, whether it should be the banking system or the government, I think. So they decide to use the entertainment sector in order to conquer the world. So the AI starts working on the entertainment sector, building movies, and then it elaborates how they finally conquer the world through the entertainment and the content sector and using AI. So for me, it is a very vivid description of how important this sector is in many areas, in many aspects, and I won't describe them all. What I got from this discussion today is that we need to fill in the problem of the bridge financing, which is a thing we need to do, and to find the missing link, let's say, of the whole financial tool that we're having, and we would be very much. We would be very happy to talk with France, that I know has these specialized banks, in order to get their know-how and see how we can do it together with the Hellenic Development Bank, which is the most important institution, catalyst, to be able to do that quickly, and in order to showcase to the other banks of the private sector how we can do that. What I get, of course, is that we need to fix the delays that we're having in the procedure for the cash rebates, and I know that most of you will have experienced during the last months these delays, and we will fix them, and everything will return to normal in a few weeks' time. And another important thing that I think Dionysus said is that the governance of the system, which is an aspect and a parameter that we didn't discuss that much, but in my opinion, as a person who has been working in the public administration for many years, for almost 15 years, it is the most important element and aspect of how you can create a sustainable public policy like the audiovisual policy, is to have the right governance system. And because this thing is a very dynamic thing, and it's running very fast, what I believe we should do, apart from the financial tools, apart from taking know-how from France, is to be in a constant reassessment of how the government and its institutions are working. I know that there are a lot of institutions right now in the Ministry of Culture, in our ministry, in other ministries, that are all participating in this area. As this thing becomes bigger and becomes more important for the Greek economy, we need to be able to reassess how this thing works from an administrative point of view. I thank you very much for having me here. It was delightful, I would say, discussion. And I would like if SAPOE could repeat it at some point.
Yes, we do. With great pleasure.
And do not delay it very much, not have it in the next Thessaloniki Festival. We could have it in Athens as well, because I think these type of discussions help me, help the ministry, help all of us who are doing the policy making to make better policies for you. Thank you very much.
And now SAPOE is the host of tonight's happy hour drinks, the legendary Agora happy hour drinks. I'm not sure what the weather's like. We've been locked in here for a couple of hours. If it's not raining, we'll be out. If it's raining, I think we'll be inside the εντευκτήριο των υπαλλήλων του OLP, I guess. Comment? Πώς? Salon de réunion. Évidemment, OK.